I need to tell you something that might actually make you mad. Those cheap leads you're so excited about, they're probably the most expensive mistake you'll ever make in your business. And I can say that with confidence because last year we spent multiple six figures on ads. We collected seven figures in commissions for realtors we worked with. I've been doing this for over 10 years myself, ranked top 10 in my brokerage a few times, and personally collected $1 million in commissions using these systems. So when I tell you that cheap leads are costing you more than a fortune, I'm not guessing. I'm speaking from experience, painful, expensive experience, because I spent $6,000 on chasing cheap leads, and you know what it actually cost me? Way more than that. Let me show you the math nobody talks about. 6 years ago, I found this lead gen company. Their pitch was simple and compelling. $25 per lead, guaranteed 30 to 40 leads a month. I did the math in my head. That's $750 to $1,000 for leads. Their service was another $2,000. So for about $3,000 a month, I'd get 30 to 40 leads. Compared that to Zillow or some other expensive companies charging $100 per lead, this felt like a no-brainer. So I signed up. 3-month commitment, $9K total when you include ad spend. And they delivered exactly what they promised. 35 leads the first month, 42 leads the second month, 38 leads the third month. I was drowning in leads. My spreadsheet was full. I felt like I was winning, except I wasn't closing any deals, not one. But here's what really gets me, and this is the part that still keeps me up at night. The actual cost of those cheap leads was way higher than $6,000. When I actually calculated what I lost, it was closer to $50,000. Yeah, you heard that right, 50K. And today I'm gonna break down exactly how cheap leads can cost you that much, because if you don't understand this, you're gonna make the same mistakes I did. The hidden cost, your time. Let's start with the most obvious cost that nobody includes in their math, your time. Those 115 leads I got over 3 months, I spent around 20 hours per week trying to work with them. That's 240 hours over 3 months. Now, what's your time worth? Let's be conservative. Let's say $50 an hour. That's $12,000 worth of your time. But here's where it gets worse. What else could you have been doing with those 240 hours? In my case, I completely neglected my sphere of influence. I stopped doing open houses. I stopped networking. I stopped asking for referrals. You know what happened? My referral business, which was generating 60% of my income, completely dried up. Why? Because I was too busy calling people who gave me fake numbers. So while I was chasing these cheap leads, I lost 3 referral deals that would have been $24K in commission. Add that to the time cost. $12K plus $24K, that's $36,000 in opportunity cost. The hidden cost number 2, lead quality versus lead quantity. Here's what they don't tell you about cheap leads. They're cheap for a reason. The ads that generate cheap leads are generic. Want to know what your home is worth? Or search for homes in your area. These ads attract everyone, including people who are just curious, not planning to move for another 2 to 3 years, already working with another agent, not qualified to buy or sell, using fake email to access information, just bored on Facebook at 11 p.m. Out of my 115 leads, maybe 20 of them were real people with real numbers who actually answered when I called. Of those 20, maybe 5 were actually considering buying or selling next year. Of those 5, maybe 2 were already working with someone else. So my $6,000 got me 2 actual appointments. That's $3,000 per real prospect. Still think they're cheap? The hidden cost number 3, conversion problems. Now here's where it gets really expensive. Let's say you get someone on the phone, they're a real person, they're thinking about selling. They don't have an agent. Great, right? Wrong. Because that person clicked on a generic ad. They don't know you, they don't trust you. They've probably filled 5 other forms and are talking to 5 other agents. You're just a random realtor who called them. You have 0 differentiation. So you're competing purely on what? Who calls them first? Who's the pushiest? Who offers the lowest commission? This is a race to the bottom. I found myself offering 1% listings just to try to close someone, cutting my commission in half just to beat out the other agents calling the same leads. If I had closed even one of those deals, a 300K listing at 1% would have been $3,000 in commissions. to make back my $6,000 investment, I would have had to close 2 of these deals, and I had closed 0. The hidden cost number 4, your reputation and positioning. This one's harder to quantify, but it might be the most expensive of all. When you're competing for cheap leads, you train yourself to be desperate. You call people who don't want to talk to you. You pitch people who aren't interested. You lower your commission to try win the business. And over time, that changes how you see yourself. Instead of being a trusted advisor, you become a salesperson who's interrupting people's days. Instead of being selective about who you work with, you'll work with anyone who says yes. Instead of commanding premium commissions, you start negotiating fees before you even prove your value. I watched this happen to me. I went from being a confident professional to being someone who was apologizing for calling. Hey, sorry to bother you. I know you probably don't remember filling out this form. That's not a position of strength. That's not how you build a sustainable business. And the cost of all of that, it's your entire brand, your entire positioning in the market. The hidden cost number 5, the system you don't build. Here's something I didn't realize until it was too late. When you're chasing cheap leads, you're building an entire business around volume. You need a lot of leads because most of them suck. So you optimize for getting more and more and more. But you know what you don't learn? You don't learn how to attract high quality prospects, position yourself as an expert, command premium fees, build a referral machine, create content that builds trust. You become really good at calling cold leads. That's it. And that skill, it's worth nothing if you ever want to scale beyond trading your time for money. The agents who are crushing it aren't the ones with most leads. They're the ones with the best systems. Systems for attracting the ideal clients, systems for nurturing relationships, systems for getting referrals. I spent 3 months building the wrong system, learning the wrong skills. What did that cost me? Probably another 6 months of growth and another 20K in lost income while I had to rebuild everything. What expensive leads actually buy you? Okay, so if cheap leads are actually expensive, what do you get when you pay more per lead? I'm gonna tell you exactly what changed when I switched strategies. Instead of paying $25 per lead for generic home value clicks, I started running ads that costed me $100 to $150 per lead. That sounds crazy, right? 6 times more expensive, but here's what I got. Better targeting. Instead of saying, want to know your home value, my ad said, thinking about downsizing now that the kids are in college? Here's what you need to know about timing your sale. That ad doesn't get a lot of clicks, but the people that do click, they're exactly who I want to work with. Pre-qualified prospects. These people watched a 3-minute video before filling out a form. They saw my face, they heard my expertise, and then decided if I was worth talking to. When I called them, they knew who I was. Half the battle was already won. High value deals. Downsizers in my market typically own 600 to 900K homes. My average commission went from a projected 7,500 to an actual 18K commission. So even though I got fewer leads, each one was worth more. Better conversion rates. With cheap leads, I was converting at maybe 1 to 2% if I was lucky. With expensive leads, I was converting at around 15 to 20%. Do the math. 100 cheap leads at $25 each is $2,500 spent for 1 to 2 conversions. 20 expensive leads at $125 each is $2,500 spent for 3 to 4 conversions. Same ad spend, double or triple the results. The real math. Let me show you the full comparison so you get this clearly. Cheap lead strategy. Cost per lead is usually $25. Leads per month is about 40-ish. Monthly ad spends around $1,000. Service fee is about $2,000. Total monthly cost might be around $3,000. Actual prospects you get, probably 2 prospects overall. The deals closed, 0. Commissions earned, 0. The ROI is probably $9,000-ish over 3 months. Now let's talk about a quality lead strategy. It's what I do now. Cost per lead is $125. Leads per month, 10-ish. Monthly ad spend about $1,250. Service fee about $500. I handle most of it myself. Total monthly cost is $1,750. The actual prospects I get, around 8. The deals closed per month is 2 deals. Average commission is $18,000. Commissions earned is $36,000 per quarter. The ROI is $30,750 250 plus per quarter. Look at that, I'm spending less money total, getting fewer leads, making more commission. That's the power of quality over quantity. Why this is hard to see. Here's why many agents fall into the cheap lead trap. It feels good to see a lot of leads come in. Your spreadsheet's full, you feel busy, you'll feel productive, but busy doesn't equal profitable. It's like eating junk food in the moment. It feels satisfying, but it's not nourishing your business. Quality leads are like eating a healthy meal. It might not feel as immediately gratifying, but it actually builds something more sustainable. The problem is our brains are wired for immediate feedback. We want to see results now. I spent $1,000 and got 40 leads, this is working. But then 3 months later, wait, why haven't I closed anything yet? You have to think long term. You have to measure what actually matters. And what matters is deals closed and commissions earned, not leads generated. The lifestyle factor. One more thing that nobody talks about. What kind of life do you want? When I was working cheap leads, I was calling 30 to 40 per week. Most of them didn't answer. Most of the ones who did answer weren't interested. I was getting rejected 20 to 30 times per week. That's exhausting. That's soul crushing. And that's not why I got into real estate. Now I have 10 leads per month. I have real conversations with 8 of them. I close 2 per quarter. I spend less time prospecting, more time serving clients. I'm not stressed, I'm not burnt out, I'm not questioning my whole career choice. That's not just about money, that's about having a life you actually enjoy. So here's where we are. You've learned why cheap leads are actually the most expensive mistake you can make, not just in dollars, but in time, opportunity, positioning, and lifestyle. But knowing the problem isn't enough. You need an actual solution. And here's the truth. The solution is different for everyone. Maybe you're in a market where $125 per lead is realistic. Maybe you're in a market where you can only support $75 per lead. Maybe you need to focus on organic content and not paid ads at all. I don't know, because I don't know your specific situation yet. And that's why I want to offer you something. If you want me to look at your actual business, your market, your budget, your goals, your current strategy, and help you figure out the right approach for getting you qualified leads without wasting money, I'm offering a one-on-one strategy call with you on specifically what works. Here's what we'll do. We'll spend 30 to 45 minutes together. I'll ask you a bunch of questions about what you've tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked. Then I'm gonna figure out who your ideal client is, not just theory, but specifically in your market. We'll map out what kind of message would attract them, what platform makes sense, what budget is realistic. And I'll tell you straight up, if I think you're better off not running paid ads right now, I'll tell you that too. This isn't a pitch, this is a consulting session. You'll walk away with a clear plan for generating quality leads without falling into cheap lead trap. Maybe that means working with us. Maybe that means doing something completely on your own. I generally don't care which path you choose. I just want to make sure you don't waste $6,000 like I did. Or worse, $50K in real cost like I calculated for you today. Because here's what I know. I got into real estate to build a great life, to help people, to make good money while doing meaningful work. Chasing cheap leads doesn't get you there. It gets you busy, stressed, and broke. Building a business around quality leads, that's what gets you freedom, fulfillment, and financial success. So if you're ready to make that shift, click the link in the description, book your strategy call, and we'll figure out a specific plan together. And you'll never have to wonder if you're wasting money on the wrong leads again. The link's right in the description, and I'll see you on that call. And remember, in this business, you can either compete on price or value. You can either chase quantity or you can focus on quality. Choose quality every single time. Your future self will thank you. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, sell more homes.